guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Joni and I'm going to show you step by step how to paint this pretty tropical landscape on a 5x7 using a few different colors today. We've got turquoise, sap green, or hooker's green hue, luminous neon yellow. We'll be using a little bit of neon red. We'll be using some light blue violet. And we'll also be using some Mars black, and you can use any other variations of these colors. We might be using a little bit of phthalo blue and titanium white. So let's go ahead and get started. So to begin, we're going to use a large flat brush. This is a number 11. You guys can use any brush that you want, of course. And I'm going to get it a little bit wet. I'm going to take a little bit of my light blue violet. I go right just below halfway. Take a little bit of white with that, just a little bit like that. Pull back and forth. And get these little edges here. And without washing my brush, I'm going to take a little bit of my phthalo blue, mix some white in with that. Just grab a little bit of water. This is a very, very easy painting, suitable for all levels. Just gonna, without washing my brush off, take a little bit of white, sort of on an angle, just pull and sweep into this wet paint. This way it looks really far away, and like those clouds are just very wispy. And you can kind of get that oil paint look when you work with your paints wet on wet like this. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a little bit of white on my brush with this leftover blue. And I'm going to go pick up a little bit of turquoise. I'm going to pull right below like this. Almost all the way. We're going to have our trees here, our palm trees here. And now I'm going to take more of my turquoise. Go slightly under that. I'm going to dry or wash my brush out, dry it off. I'm just going to switch over to a number 8 flat brush now. Taking white. I'm going to start down here, making it lighter in color. And then go right back up. Wash my brush out. Take a little bit of white, a tiny bit of that luminous yellow, and pull just a tiny bit in like that. Just going to go over here, take both of my blues, get a little line on the bottom, and for the horizon, I'm just going to go right across, so that gives us that nice illusion of the horizon back there. Okay. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my neon red, a little bit of white, tiny bit of yellow, so that's even going to be a little bit. Just want to tint our white, make a nice warm color, which is going to be, you can barely see it, right? It's just a very light color, but compared to the white, you can see it. I'm just going to go in here very lightly, push, kind of make it look rippled, and cut across. This will kind of make it look like there's some soft waves. Okay, so not a lot of effort here, super easy. Of course, we're working on a small canvas, so it really does help. We're going to pull this in here, get this all covered up. Right, I'm going to dry this off, and then we'll begin our palm trees. Okay, so it doesn't take long at all to dry. And we're going to start with a little filbert brush first. We're going to do the background, the little bushes first. And I'm just going to use a little bit of my sap green, hunter green, hooker's green hue. Just a nice dark warm green, not a cool green. Okay, turquoise is a cool green. It's got cool blue in it. Okay, so I'm going to just take my brush and I'm just going to do a little line like this. And I'm just going to start tapping. Now already I can see that that's not dark enough, so I need to take a little bit, and that can sometimes happen if your brush is too wet as well. So if your brush is too wet, your paint is going to be see-through. So I'm taking a bit more black. I'm just going to do a few little taps in here. Because it's a small canvas, we're not going to do a lot, right? Just a little bit like this. Bring it up a little bit higher. And I'm going to wash my brush off. Nice clean brush. I'm going to dry this off quickly, and then I'm going to come in with my mini little mop brush. I love these little brushes. They're makeup brushes that I got on Amazon, and they're so wonderful. The bristles never come out of them. So I'll dry this off quickly. Okay, so I'm going to take, I want to add a highlight, right? Some nice yellow. I'm going to take a little bit of each color, white, neon yellow, and that green. And I'm just going to start down here, little taps, leaving some spaces so that we have those shadows. Okay, it's just a little bit. You definitely don't need a lot. See how you just do a few little taps and instantly you've got that 3D kind of look. Okay. Now we'll see how that dries, and if it dries darker, then I might come back later on and add another little highlight on top of those. So it's time to come with our palm trees now, and I've got a few different brushes here that I want to show you guys. Those of you that watch my videos all the time know about these brushes, and I wanted to show you guys for the longest time now how to use these for palm leaves. So these are even tail wisp brushes, one a fan and one a filbert. I got these at Michael's art store in Canada. You can get them online on Amazon or any fine art store. So they've got these little spaces that have been cut out, so it makes it really easy to make a lot of lines for grass or palm leaves. And we're going to try them out right now, but we've got to do our tree trunks first. So let's do that. And I'm going to take a round brush. So I've got this one here. I'm not sure what number it is. The paint is worn off. Maybe we want to use something a little bit smaller than this for this little canvas. But I'm going to take a little bit of white, a little bit of black. Okay, I need a lot more white than that. Black is so strong. I'm going to warm this up with a little bit of burnt sienna. Okay, so I'm going to start right here, because it's a big one. I'm just going to do a little bit wider here at the base, and then I'm going to come up and over and like this, because palm trees grow all sorts of ways. And I love these ones that have character like this. They're very curvy, and I don't think I've painted one with a curve like this before. Maybe I have. If I have, not for a while. And then I'm just going to take, see, the end of my brush is really pointy. So if I want to add a little palm trees in the back, I'm not going to use a lot of pressure. I'm going to be very careful and just use the tip. So if your paint is dry underneath, you can really just steady your hand by putting your finger right here. And we'll have some that are just a little palm tree or two that comes out in the distance here. We'll just have a few like that. This one's a little bit wonky. There. Okay, so I'm going to add a little highlight to the tree trunk. I'll just take any one of my tinted whites here, and just to make it look like there's some sun, I'm going to go, instead of going on the outside of the tree, I'm going to go start on the inside, just so I don't make my tree too thick. Okay, again, just get it on the end of my brush. And I'm going to come back in just because I went over that a little bit, and that's okay, but if you did, like me, you want to come back in with your dark color. So the idea is to have it dark inside and then lighter on the outside. Or you don't even have to do the highlight if you don't want. Okay, so we are ready. I'll do a little bit of a shadow there. And in fact, while I've got my little brush I'm using here, I'm going to take, I love to use the light blue violet for my shadows in the water. So I'm just going to pull around, just the idea, just little blobs. Tell yourself that you're not doing palm tree shadow, you're just pulling out little blobs. This makes a really great color for shadows. Just little something really simple like that. As it dries, you can add a little bit more blue. Yeah, I just think it makes a really nice shadow color, like I said. Soft and pretty. I'm going to take a little bit more and add it to the top to make this a little bit darker. And I'm choosing this color rather than the phthalo blue because I already have a lot of the phthalo blue on there. And in fact, this looks really nice when combined over top. It looks nice with the phthalo blue. Okay, so it's time to do our little palm leaves. And I'm going to use the little wisp one first. I'm going to take my sap green with my black. And I'll do a few little test ones over here. So we're just going to pull and flick. See how easy that is? Because you have all these little lines already on the brush. It just does that work for you. A little bit more black. You guys are seeing this and my hand's not in the way. I'm going to try and maneuver around here while it's kind of tricky trying to film and show you guys everything and try to do a good job of my painting all at the same time. Okay, we'll put another little one right here. So just pulling and twisting, little tiny, because these are just little tiny ones. We just want to have that idea that they're back there, right? Just adds to the atmosphere and that beach vibe. Okay. We're going to have another one that comes out here. We're going to do some larger pulls and sweeps. Looks like a bird right now. Maybe a little tree trunk in there. I should have done this one before I did the tree trunk, but that's okay. We can do it again. Okay, so there's our base coat. And now I'm going to take a little bit of white with my yellow. Get it on the tip of my brush. And I'm going to, oops, there's a little hair there. And I'm just going to pull, twist, and flick. Just for a few little highlighted ones. So this one over here is going to be a little bit more in shadow. Okay. Now with a clean brush, just going to pull. They look like little lines. Then, before this dries too much, we can gently wipe that off, see? Exposing the tree trunk again that's dried. And then it puts those palm leaves back there. And that tree trunk in the foreground again. Okay, so now, I wonder if this is going to actually be too big. It might be too big. I think I might have to stick with this small one today, guys, but in the future, when my arm's feeling better, it's actually, you guys, I know you've been asking me and giving me well wishes on my arm. It's feeling so much better today, so this taking it easy on these small canvases has really helped. And all the good energy and vibes you guys are sending me, so thank you so much. But maybe by next week I'll be able to get back to a larger canvas, and if you'd like to see another tropical landscape such as this, where I use this one, leave a comment below this video and let me know. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of water, a little bit of black, and we'll start right in the center here. So I'm just going to pull. See that? Pull and flick. We'll do a whole bunch of these. So you don't want to have any thick lumps in it. It's just so much easier to use this, and I'm trying to do it all with a liner brush. I will do one that just goes right off the canvas like this, and another one. Big palm tree. I'd like to be somewhere tropical right now. It's rainy, winter season almost here. Well, it's fall, but winter is the same here. We just get a lot of rain. we like to travel, but with the restrictions with COVID, it's just safer to stay at home right now. So until I can travel again, I'll just paint some pretty places that I'd like to be. So you can do as many palm leaves as you want. You don't have to do this many, you can do fewer. Make this one a little bit bigger. So I went off a little bit with that one. I'm just going to take some of that off. Just wiping the paint, pushing it off with this little filbert brush, and wiping it off on a towel. I'll just go back to my little brush here. Okay, I'm going to dry this off, and then I'm going to come in with my light yellow mixture for the high. And before I do that, I'm just going to add a little bit more shadow back here now that I can come in here. And it's a little dry. A little bit more depth is what we're doing, so this will make it look a little more realistic. To make our highlights stand out more, we can add a little bit of black in there if you want. Just a little bit right at the base of the tree. So it's all up to you guys how much detail you want to add. You do need to add just a little bit of a shadow right in there. So let's go ahead and take our yellow with our white and a little bit of water on my brush. Don't want it to be drippy. Just make sure I don't have any drips on here. Good thing I checked, because I did. And we're just going to do a little line inside some of them. And you can use a little liner brush if you want. If you're really careful, you can just use this brush. Okay, and then I'm just going to take a little bit of my green with my yellow. A little bit more yellow in there to make this stand out more. And start adding our highlights. Make these palms stand out a little bit more. This brush is so nice to use. You guys gotta get one of these, you'll love it. It makes it so much easier painting palm leaves. You have a lot more control. And then if you think you've done a bit too much, like I might have done a little bit too much right there, just go in, slide my brush, pull, and flick. I'm just going to go over to my little liner brush here, my long little liner brush, and I'm going to add a little line. I wasn't quite able to do that well with the wisp brush. It's harder to get those ones back in the distance. I think we'll just do a little bit less pressure. That's the key too. If you push too hard, and then it's going to make it thicker. And these are in the distance, so you want to use less pressure so everything's smaller. I forgot about these little ones down here. Well, before I carry on, I better get those ones done. Take a little bit of my black mixture and pull and twist. I'm going to have to switch over to a little liner brush for those ones because they're so far away and so little that this is just too big. So I'm just going to use a smaller liner brush here. Take a little bit of my green. And I'm going to take some of this off because I made them to come out a bit too big accidentally with that wisp brush. You'll see how it's important to use the right size brush for what you're painting exactly. So we'll just push, shove, wipe that excess paint off on a towel. And even that looks fine. Add the indication of just a tiny bit of highlights here. Just a few little lines. Adjust again. That would be my dog. A little bit more yellow in this one. Okay, so I'm almost done this one. Continue with a few other lines here. And then before I call this done, I'm just going to take a little bit of white with my pink and a little bit of yellow. Very carefully. I need a little bit of water in my brush to help that flow. little highlight around the tree trunk. And if you want, you can kind of just scumble in a little bit. It aligns down here. Very, very subtle. I'm just getting that right, paint to start to dry, getting that right balance. It's key. So a little bit of light around the side and then dark inside. I'm just going to take a little bit more of my light blue violet. Make this look a little bit sort of flatter in here. A little bit come out right there. And like I thought, this dried a little bit darker, so I'm going to take a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow again. Just some gentle little taps. A little bit more yellow. I'm going to take a little bit of my peachy pink mixture with some white, a little bit of that blue, just so I make a little bit of a shadow color from my sand. So hardly any paint on my brush, just the right color and watered down. A little. A bit like that. And what I would want to do is just sneak some sand right in there. Okay, so I'm going to call this all done. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me again today, and I look forward to seeing you next time in another video. Bye for now, guys.